Alright, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at some other features that you can do with y equals to help you find answers to some of your problems. Okay, so here we go. We have this problem here. What are the real roots of x squared minus 7x plus 10 equals 0? Well, first you got to know some vocabulary. One, real roots means actually x-intercepts. So that means we're trying to find what are the x-intercepts of this expression right here. Okay. So what we're going to do is going to make this simple. We're going to go to y equals. We're going to type in this expression without the equals 0 to the point to the end of it. So we're going to say x squared minus 7x plus 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to just graph this and ignore the equals 0. So we're going to hit graph, y equals, graph it, and what we have here is we have the graph that goes through like this, and we have our x-axis, which is the horizontal axis right here, and what we have is the line going through it in two areas. Okay, these are your roots, also known as your x-intercepts. So our value would be 2, and our value would be 5. So our answer choice would be letter A, 2 and 5. There's your real roots, and that's it. All done. Okay. Now we're going to look at another feature that we could do with the y equals that can help us on a problem like this. Alright, so here we go. We have this problem. Which equation represents the horizontal line passing through 7, 5? Okay. Well, a couple things that we have to know right now is one. So you look at your answer choices A, B, C, and D. We can already actually eliminate a couple of answers based off of the point we know. 1. X is 7. Okay, so 1, X is 7. So X is not 5. We can eliminate A. And Y is 5. So that means we can eliminate letter D because it says Y equals 7. So now we're based off of these two answers right here. Which one is it? Is it x equals 7 or is it y equals 5? The line says horizontal. Okay, so that's a definition we have to know. In y equals, the only one that we can graph is y equals 5. We cannot graph it x equals 7 problem. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to graph y equals 5 into y equals and see if this is the horizontal line that passes through 7, 5. So we're going to type in y1 is y1 equals 5. So we're going to just type in 5. Alright, hit graph. There's our line. And 1, we can already know that this is a horizontal line because 1, the horizontal axis is our x-axis. Okay, so that means this line's horizontal. So y equals 5 is a horizontal line. Now, does it pass through the point 7, 5? Well, let's count out 7 on our x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let's go up. This is at 5. So indeed, it does pass through 7, 5. Therefore, we would pick letter B as our answer. If this line was not horizontal and it was a different line, then we would have picked letter C because of what we know from this point already. So since our answer is a horizontal line and it's y equals 5, we're going to pick B. Alright, now for the last one that I saw here. Okay. The very, very last problem of this whole thing. Here we go. This is an easy one because we are able to graph. And so something that's a good suggestion is if you see anything that involves f of x equals, g of x equals, something that involves along the lines of this, and this is all they give you, they don't give you anything else, then this might be telling you that you need to graph it. Okay? Well, look at this problem here. It says, what are the x-intercept and the y-intercept of this function? Alright, so we need to find what the x-intercept is and what the y-intercept is of this function. Well, here we go. Our function's right here. And so instead of f of x equals, we could say this is y equals negative 4x plus 2. which means we're going to type in negative 4x plus 2 into y equals. Okay, so let's type this in. Negative 4x, negative 4x plus 2. Okay, now we're going to look at the graph and see what we find. Here we go. Let's look at the graph. All right. So right here we have a point of intersection. Okay, and right here we have a point of intersection. So to be able to know exactly where that point of intersection is, what we're going to do is we're going to double check it and we're going to say, okay, let's zoom in. So we're going to hit zoom and number 2. Okay, so let's do zoom 2. Alright, look at where this thing goes. Okay, well we can clearly see that it's intersecting somewhere up here. And it looks like it's at 2. Okay, and then it looks like it's intersecting right here in the middle, in between 0 and 1. Okay, so looking at our answer choices here, well, the x-intercept is definitely not at negative 2. Negative 2 is right here. Okay, and it's not even written correctly, alright, because it's using negative 2 as the y. So we can eliminate letter A. We could also eliminate letter B because 1, it's written incorrectly with the x-intercept because y is 2, which is not true. Okay, because it would be saying that the x-intercept is right here at 2, not at y. Okay, so we can eliminate B. Alright, we can eliminate C because it's saying that it's going through negative 1/2. Well, negative 1/2 would be somewhere right here on your graph. And it's also saying that the y-intercept is at negative 2, which is down here. And then finally, letter D, we can pick this guy because it says the x-intercept is at 1/2, which looks about right here. Okay, and then the y-intercept is at 0, 2, which is right there. And so letter D would be our answer because we found our intersections. Okay, our intersections on the x and y axis, which is our x and y intercepts. Okay, all right. So just a quick recap: when you do something that you zoom in and out, go down to number 6 because it'll take it right back to normal graph. So I'm going to hit enter here. It's going to take you right back to a normal graph, and there you go. Okay. All right. One more, actually. I was just thinking about this one as I was scrolling up and down. This guy here. So again, going back off the example of anytime you see a f of x equals, a g of x equals, and that's all they give you, and then they give you a question about the problem. Usually that could tell you that you're going to be using a y equals. So in this problem here, it says which set contains only zeros of the function g. Well, here's our function. That's all we have. Zeros mean x-intercepts. So that means these guys are x-intercepts, which means if we look at a graph, we could probably figure out what their answer is. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to graph this guy. 9x squared minus 16 into y1 into y equals. Then what we're going to do is we're going to graph it. We're going to hit graph. Alright, so we have this graph. Alright, so we have the line going through here, and all of a sudden it comes right back up the other way on the other side. Okay, choo choo. Alright, anyway, so what we're going to do is now we're going to look and see what these zeros are. Well, let's take a really closer look at the graph to make sure that we are looking at what we need to see here. So we're going to go again, zoom 2, and we're going to hit enter. Alright, there's the graph here, there's the line there, okay? So there's our line here, and here's the line here, okay? Alright, so as we look at these answer choices, we're going to say, okay, where are the x-intercepts? Well, we have 1, 2. We already can eliminate 2 answers to the problem because we only have 2 choices to choose from, 1 and 2. So we can eliminate letter B because we have 1, 2, 3 choices. We could also eliminate letter D because we have 1, 2, 3 choices. Quadratics always have 2 answers for zeros. Always. Okay? Quadratics will always have two answers for the zeros. So that means we have to eliminate B and D because they have 3. And we don't have 3 here. We only have 2. So let's look at the other 2 choices we have. We have A, which is negative 4/3 and 4/3, and then we have C, which is negative 16 and 9. Well, as we can see here, this is 0, 0. This is negative 1. This is negative 2. This is 1. This is 2. This is not anywhere close to 9 and negative 16, it looks like. So we can eliminate letter C, which means we can choose letter A. Now, to be very sure on this, what you can do is you can actually move your cursor over to these points and kind of get an estimate. And if you see the estimate says negative 1.329 da 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 da. Okay? If you typed in negative 4 over 3, you get negative 1.3 repeated, which means that would be close enough to letter A. Okay? You could also do the same by moving the cursor over to the right side. Let's see if we can get this guy over there. Alright. And it does it again, 1.329, da 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 da. Okay? 4 divided by 3 is again 1.3 repeated. So again, this number closely resembles 1.3 repeated, so our answer would definitely be A, and we would choose that as our answer. And so this is ways we can figure out how y equals can help us to save time on certain problems and help us be able to figure out what things look like off of a graph. And so use y equals when you need a graph and you need to look at something visually to see a different representation of the problem. So thank you for watching, and again, don't forget, hit that zoom, hit 6, so that you can go right back to the normal graph.